Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Jesper, and on this channel here we're talking about skincare, haircare and all those sort of things that are supposed to make you good for a really long time. But we are also talking about health in general, and there are some people, they have this sort of issue that's called acid refluxes, or like you get a sort of like burning sensation in your esophagus, your food pipe, and there can be various reasons for that. And often you are simply just told to take something like it's called Gaviscon, and it sort of like looks like this. This is one you get at the pharmacy. You can get it in the food shops and many places really. But there is just that little thing about something like that, and that is before you just take a lot of that, you should basically go and see your doctor to find out what is actually the root for why you're having these acid refluxes. So if you have found out, yes, you have that, it could either be because you have some sort of hiatal hernia, or it could be that you are maybe pregnant, you have a spot of pregnancy, and that means that there could be some sort of a pressure on the stomach, and that sort of like causes acid reflux in your esophagus, and that is obviously not nice, and it can cause all sorts of like issues in the esophagus and that sort of thing. But it is important to find out before you just take something to deal with some sort of an issue, that you, or the consequences of an issue basically, that you go and see your doctor and find out what is actually the root cause and if that can be dealt with in the first place. Now sometimes there will be people that are looking at my channel and they are looking for some of these slimming down videos and that sort of thing, and if you are someone who are maybe having a little bit more weight than you would like to have, and it means that when you are lying down, then there will be, again, just as if you were pregnant, so like a mechanical sort of thing, that there will be a pressure on your stomach, and that means that you can actually get acid reflux. So how can you actually deal with that? Well, that is what I'm going to tell you today, or how can you deal with the consequences of it, because I can't really promise that I can deal with the reason for it, because that's not what we're talking about today. We are talking about how you can deal with the consequences of it, so this sort of like acid reflux thing. And basically, if you're taking something like a Gaviscon, like this one here, then they are actually basically just it's a substance that are alkaline, and that means that it will neutralize the acid in your stomach for a little while, and have to take it several times a day in order to sort of like keep the acid level more to the neutral level basically. But there is just that little thing about that that is not something you should do a whole lot. If you do a lot of that, then you risk that in general you have too low acidity in your stomach, and that is not really great, because then you cannot sort of like digest your food properly. So there is actually a reason why your stomach acid is an acid. So yes, what can you actually do? Because there is that little thing about something like this Gaviscon here, and that is that there are certain things you need to be careful with when you take it. If you are pregnant or whatever, in sort of other conditions, can you take it or can you not take it? So I thought actually, because the reason I have this one here is not because I use it, it is more like because my husband is has been using it for a little while. Basically, he never managed to use it, because I made a little thing for him instead that I will tell you about later. And he has a myotonic dystrophy, and that is basically something that is damages the muscles in your body and that sort of thing. There will be some like various issues with that, and one of the things is that you can maybe have acid reflux, because your sphincter muscle is actually a little bit weak, though that it can actually cramp up at some times, which is even more of a problem. So now when we are talking about acid reflux, then I thought, well, this Gaviscon thing, there are actually some side effects of it if you're taking too much of, and that sort of thing. So I thought, can we use something else? Because basically what you want is something that is a little bit sort of like gel-like. So how can you make something that is gel-like? Well, the thing is that in Gaviscon they have actually used something that I have here, and which I am using for serums and lotions and potions, that sort of thing, and you can find it in a lot of cosmetics stuff, so creams and face mask and that sort of thing. So these sheet masks basically, and that is something called a sodium alginate, and it looks like this, and it is basically just a bit of a powder, and that will sort of like gel the water that you are putting it in, if the water is not acidic, because if it is acidic, it will just sort of like continue to be watery and will not sort of gel. So another thing that I've spoken a lot about, and that is amino acids. So actually I have a lot of amino acids in the household here, and one of them is something called L-Arginine. So L-Arginine, that is basically an alkaline amino acid. So it's a base, so it's the opposite of an acid. And that means that if you're adding that to water, you will get something that is the opposite of an acid. And that is basically what a Gaviscon like this is. It is the opposite of an acid. So I have made a little concoction myself, and that is basically the one that my husband is using. And it is sort of like, this is just a bottle I have. And it looks like this. So I have just made this sort of like, you can maybe see it's sort of like a little bit gel-ish like. And what that does is basically that you are having a gel that sort of like linger in your esophagus for a little while, and that means that it will basically coat your esophagus, and that means that if you're getting an acid reflux afterwards, then you will actually be a little bit protected against that, at least for a little while. But still, this will be something that you will maybe take a sip of before you go to bed, or you might take a sip of it during the day, and it will be alkaline. And the reason it is alkaline is because there is L-Arginine in it. And that simply means that you're having something that will neutralize the acid reflux. So something like L-Arginine, that is basically something that is really great for your body anyway. So here we have basically something that is basically a health drink, but it will also help you with the acid reflux. So how much do I actually use? Well, when I have a bottle like this, there's 250 milliliters in this one here. Then I basically take 2 scoops of this stuff here, and that will be a scoop of this spoon here, and that is 1 milliliter. It's a 1 milliliter spoon, and for this time I took 2 of them. Last time I took 1, so I thought, well, if I take 2, then it's sort of like maybe it's a little bit more gel-like, so you can sort of like find out how gel-like you would like it to be. But this sort of like consistency, that is 2 spoons of a 1 milliliter spoon of this powder here, and you can buy that on Amazon, or you can buy it directly from the company Special Ingredients as well, and I guess you can get it other places. I'm not affiliated with any of these things. So now there is the L-Arginine, and how much do I take of that one? Well, basically for this portion here, I took 5 spoons of these ones here and of this one here, and that is a 5 milliliter spoon. So I took 5 milliliter spoons and added to the sodium alginate, and I shake that up before I add the water, and then I add the water and shake, and you will find that it will sort of like solidify at the bottom. But just leave it out for room temperature for maybe a day, and then it will be completely like this, and you can shake it up a little bit, and after that you can put it in the fridge or the refrigerator, and there you can sort of like keep it for maybe, I would say, I would have something like this for a week, because as you might have noticed, I am not talking about putting any sort of like preservatives in it. So I would say that if you make a portion like that, just keep it in the refrigerator for a week, and then you can make a new portion. And most likely you will have been drinking all this within a week if you actually have serious issues with acid reflux. So there is another thing that can do that you are maybe having acid reflux, and that is maybe if you have irritated bowel syndrome, because then it might be that you will be taking something like Buscopan. It looks like this. And what that actually does is that, yes, it will help with your bowels and that sort of thing, so the movements down there, but it will also sort of like relax the sphincter muscle, and that is we have various of those in the body, but one of them is the one that is between the esophagus and your stomach. So if you are taking a lot of this Buscopan during the day, you can take, I think it's up to 8 pills or something like that during the day, then you might risk that that muscle will be a little bit weak, and that might cause acid reflux. So that is basically something that you could think about, that maybe you should lower the dose or something like that, or just basically what I'm saying is that one reason for acid reflux could be that you are relaxing your sphincter muscles too much. So yes, that was by the words. So if you like to have something that is an alternative to this sort of a Gaviscon here, then you can make this portion here, and that is basically alginic acid, so sodium alginate in this case here, and then L-Arginine combined, and you will get an alkaline solution that you can take a sip of whenever you have a acid reflux, or you can just take a little sip before you go to bed, so that your esophagus has been coated with something that is alkaline. So yes, if you'd like to see more of this sort of video, please subscribe to the bell and do all those things you must do. More of this sort of videos. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.